I'm tired of the other women. I'm tired of him using me. For 2 months, I didn't even hear from you. Where were you?
I'm overwhelmed, man. I love you.
Fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. He fooled you about 50 times.
We are a financial disaster because of him.
Divorce doesn't exist where I'm from.
Neither one of you is wrong for having your opinions, but it just makes you wrong for each other. There's been a huge breach of trust, according to you.
She was on the fast with the pastor. She sending pictures with a smoothie, a straw in her mouth, and a sausage McMuffin. Can I eat this, pastor? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold on, why you gotta send pictures with it?
Here is today's case.
This woman says that if her fiancé's lying and taking a secret boys trip out of the country wasn't bad enough, his crippling porn addiction is. Now she's questioning whether she'll be meeting him at the altar. Will he let go of his hobby, or will a key witness change everything? That's today's case on Divorce Court.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, our virtual audience is filled with your superfans. Today's superfan of the day is Jatan from Rockford, Illinois.
Jatan, welcome to Divorce Court. We're so happy to have you with us. Enjoy.
Your Honor, this is the case of Connors versus Haynes.
Thank you, Juan. Miss Theresa Connors.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have brought your fiancé, Mr. Mark Haynes.
Yes, Your Honor.
To Divorce Court. I understand the two of you have been engaged for a year.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you're here prior to marriage because you want to see if you can save your relationship and not end up back here down the road. There are a number of issues you've alleged in your papers, Ms. Connors. I will start with you. Why don't you give me some background?
He is a porn addict, and it's not healthy for him or for me.
It's not an addiction, Your Honor.
How long have the two of you been together?
About 2 years.
2 years, okay. And what do you have to say about that, sir?
Yeah, I like porn, but it's not, I don't think it's an addiction. That's kind of ridiculous. Like, I know guys with addictions, you know, drugs. I don't drink much. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. It's a hobby. I look at porn, you know. It's not a big deal. I mean, that guy's probably looking at porn right now. Everybody looks at porn. You look at porn.
Well, Mr. Haynes, this is not about anybody else in this courtroom but the two of you today,
I just think
sir.
it's a little ridiculous that she thinks I have a problem when...
No, the ridiculous part is that you spent $4,000 on it instead of the money for our wedding.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Well, tell me.
When we moved in together, everything was great. He was protective. Chivalry was not dead with this man. We went from clean houses and laundry being done and super nice and sweet to a man who throws his laundry all over the place, is a disaster, and apparently a liar too.
That's not true.
Really? Then why don't you kindly explain Ecuador?
How did we get from laundry to Ecuador? What happened?
So for our anniversary this year, we were out of our house due to flooding. So me and 3 of our cats were in a hotel when he decided that he was going to tell me he was going on a work trip to Florida. He did not go on the work trip. Instead, he went to Ecuador with his buddy.
How'd you find out?
2 weeks later on Instagram, I saw the pictures.
Your Honor.
On his Instagram?
Yes.
Your Honor, we were out of the house, like she said. Our apartment put us up in this awful motel while we were, while our floor was getting redone. I have a friend who's from Ecuador. His little sister was getting married. He asked if I wanted to come to the wedding. I didn't have a +1, and just with everything that was going on, I wanted to go to the wedding. I was off work at the time, and I knew that it wouldn't have been a problem under any other circumstance. But because we were in this motel, I told her, okay, honey, I'm going down to Florida for a business trip. She would have said, like, okay, you're going on this trip for pleasure while we're here in this dirty motel. You're leaving me alone in this motel while you go have fun.
So you lied and said that you were going away for work?
I lied to protect her feelings because I knew she couldn't say no to me if I was going on a business trip.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's okay that you don't have a +1 to the wedding. That means you can go to the wedding solo, but why not invite her to go to Ecuador with you?
Well, she had to work. She couldn't get off work.
How do you know? You didn't ask her?
I didn't want her to go, okay? But I wasn't doing anything bad. I just needed some time to myself, like some guy time. So I went down with some of my buddies.
Why did you post photos on your social media?
I didn't post them. I was tagged in the photos.
You were tagged in the photos.
Yeah, so
Let me see the...
I would have kept it a secret. And she would have never found out about it, too. And everything would be fine.
Wait, I just want to be clear. That's you peeking
Yeah.
from behind the pole. You're sure you were invited to this wedding?
I'd also
Did you
like
crash this wedding too?
No, I was a guest of the wedding.
So one looks like a couple. You're saying this was a guy's trip?
Well, my one buddy's married, so he brought his wife down. But
Okay.
also, I apologized for that when I was caught, and she forgave me for it.
Okay.
So when I forgive somebody for something, I don't come on divorce court and bring it up.
And bring it up. So you're saying she's bringing up old stuff.
I was on my knees begging for forgiveness. I said I was sorry.
Yeah, you can forgive. The problem is most people don't forget.
Well,
But you say that's not the biggest issue. Give me an example of what you say the bigger issues are.
The porn is out of control. The pleasuring himself is out of control.
it's not true.
Really?
Why do you say it's an addiction?
He actually took off work one day for it. I came home from work early, walk up to the house, don't even have my key in the door yet. And I hear noises I shouldn't hear.
Your Honor, I didn't take off work to look at porn. I took off work for a mental health day.
He is in the living room in front of the TV, spread eagle, naked, playing with himself, watching a porn. Who does that?
Give me another example of why you say it's an issue that's out of control.
So when it came time to buy my wedding dress, I wanted him to be part of the whole wedding experience. I came home from work, I was rushing, we had an appointment, so I was like, all right, I'm going to get dressed, we're gonna head out the door. He said, babe, we can't. I said, why not? He said, I spent the money.
How much money?
About $4,000.
I did not spend $4,000.
On what?
On porn.
It
So
was,
is that what he said to you?
He actually didn't say it.
was
He
less
took
than
my
3,000.
hand and he took me to where all the porn stash was
And showed it to you?
and showed it to me.
He said that's what he spent the money on?
That's what he spent the money on.
Is that true, Mr.
I can
Haynes?
explain, Your Honor.
I brought William. He is my witness.
I own a strip club and a porn store. She came in and was really upset and was asking me about Mark having a masturbation problem and also purchasing a lot of DVDs.
You snitched on me. We're having a bro code.
Promotional consideration provided by
So we had this joint bank account. Probably had like $6,000 in it. Most of it was probably from me. That was supposed to be for the wedding. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, well, I don't know when we're gonna get married. So I can take a little bit of my own money out of the account and then put it back.
What'd you spend the money on?
Some of it was porn, some of it was the strip club.
Also in the box were receipts that I had found from the strip club and the porn shop.
Okay. The account was $4,000 short at that point?
Yes.
So you mean to tell me out of the $4,000, the only thing you can say you spent that money on was buying DVDs and you went to the strip club and that's where the $4,000 went?
It was, some of them were magazines too, and then yeah, the strip club.
Where are the
things
receipts
like that.
from?
From his friend William's store.
Mr. Haynes, you don't think $4,000 is an excessive
I
amount
was
of
gonna
money?
pay it
my
back, so
God.
I didn't.
That
When?
wasn't my question.
It might be a little excessive, but I was gonna pay it back, so I didn't think.
So
it
I
was
went and I
major.
talked to William about it.
Who's William?
William is his friend who also owns the strip club and the porn shop.
Where he bought the DVDs?
Correct. Because
Okay.
I was curious as to how often he does go there.
And did William tell you?
Oh, yeah. He is there quite often.
Your Honor, when we first got together, we were having sex all the time, and I didn't need to look at porn as much. And then, as soon as she moved in with me, she stopped doing it with me as much.
Oh, okay. So
So-
that's the reason you're saying?
So I started looking at porn more as more of a fantasy to me. It's like, I need to get my kicks one way or another, and she's not
I
doing
am
that for me.
so sorry that the honeymoon phase had ended, but eventually it does.
You have a witness with you, right?
Yes,
ma'am?
I brought William. He is my witness.
He's a witness with you in court today?
Yes, ma'am.
Juan, would you bring in the
Honor.
witness, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, right here at the left. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Nobler. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
I understand that you know Mr. Haynes
Yes.
and you know Ms. Connors.
Yes, I know both
And
of them.
tell me about your relationship with them and the conversation you had with Ms. Connors.
Okay, so basically I've been friends with Mark here for over 10 years. Known each other a long time. And since that time, he's always, been into sex quite a bit, likes to talk about it. And how I know Connors is, well, obviously they've been dating, and we've been out having drinks and getting to know one another and, you know, doing friend stuff. When I realized it was kind of getting a little excessive or a problem was when I was at my establishment, which I also own a strip club and a porn store. She actually came in and was really upset and was asking me about Mark having a masturbation problem and also purchasing a lot of DVDs.
From your store?
Correct. Mark is one of my biggest customers, and he comes in 3 to 4 times a week, frequently, you know, the strip club.
So you snitched on me. What happened to bro code?
Buddy, you know I love you, but that went out the window when it started to spill over into my professional business. You know, she was very upset, and you know, I want the best for you, but I felt at that time that things were getting to be a little excessive.
You thought he had a problem.
Right, and really needed to be addressed. And then I actually thought to myself, there was a time that me and him were on vacation in Ecuador.
Was it for a wedding?
Yes, it was for a wedding.
Okay.
Yep, and we were actually going out and do different activities and excursions and stuff like this. And a lot of the times he was really late for some of the activities. And we're like, you know, where is he? Only to find out that back at the hotel, he's running up this huge pay-per-view pornography bill. And so now I reflected back on that and I'm like, I don't know, this has to stop.
Your Honor, he comes on here saying that I have a problem. He's the one who owns a strip club connected to a porn store. If anyone here has a problem, it's him.
You understand that's his business. He's saying that as a patron, he finds that you frequent the establishment, and as a friend,
he's exploiting me.
He's concerned about you. I actually asked a therapist to give you his expert opinion about what he's heard today.
Sometimes we get addicted to behaviors. A lot of people who look at porn are medicating. Your habit destroys that very connection that you're trying to build with a woman that you love.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Miss the show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content.
You know what he does? Every time he gets a new dancer into the strip club, he sends me a picture and says, hey, Mark, come check this out. Every time he gets a new shipment of DVDs in, he texts me and says, yo, buddy, you need to come here and buy some of these DVDs. I got some good ones for you that you'll be interested in.
Is that what you're doing, Mr. Nobler?
We haven't
Even though you think he has a problem,
well,
you're pushing the merchandise?
Well, this was prior to, obviously, Miss Connors coming in. And we do a mailing list, so things go out. And, by the way, just like, you know, gambling or drinking alcohol, a little bit is okay. But once it gets to be excessive, that's a whole different story.
So you're saying you no longer reach out to him directly to let him know there's a new shipment or dancer in town?
Yes, he does.
I'd have to check with, you know...
You can tell he's a snake by looking at him. He's a slime ball.
All I can say to that is, the only reason why I'm here is because I care for him. And I know it hurts to hear this, buddy. I know it's easy to redirect that onto me, but I just want the best for you. And I think at this point, we gotta have to address this. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Nobler. I appreciate you being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming this way. Thank you.
So you think everyone is turning on you now, Mr. Haynes?
That's how I feel, yeah. I feel like everyone's ganging up on me.
I actually asked a therapist and an expert to listen in on this case today, and he's here, and I'd like him to speak to you and give you his expert opinion about what he's heard today. Mr. Abhilash Pulikin, would you bring in Mr. Pulikin? Mr. Pulikin, you have many years of experience in dealing with addictions and people with addictive personalities. What do you have to say to Mr. Haynes about what you've heard today?
So, Mr. Haynes, reading your paperwork and listening to your statement here, I want you to kind of understand, usually when we think about addiction, we think of it as an addiction to a substance, but there is also such a thing called behavioral addiction. Sometimes we get addicted to behaviors. And I think when it comes to something like porn, when it comes to something like masturbation, our brains get addicted to how good release feels. Orgasm releases dopamine into the brain. And so I think with a lot of these behaviors, they're a form of self-medication. A lot of people who look at porn are medicating. you're spending a lot of your time looking at it, which means you're either medicating perhaps depression or trauma or anger or sadness. It can be loneliness, a desire for connection. And when it comes to your fiancé, your habit takes time away from the relationship. It destroys that very connection that you're trying to build. And one of the big things that you're trying to do is reestablish some sort of sexual connection with a woman that you love. People don't feel okay having sex when they don't feel safe. And your fiancé does not feel safe because she doesn't know where you are emotionally or physically because the habit has come in between you.
So you think if I stop looking at porn, she'll want to have sex with me more?
If you spent more time connecting with her, looked at what she was into, reestablishing some of that trust, that's going to bring sex back. Sex is not just a pleasure thing, it's also a safety thing. What makes her feel safe? What this habit has done is that it's consumed all of your time. It hasn't changed how much you love her, but now she doesn't know as much if you're going to be there for her physically or emotionally when she needs you. And I think that's what you'll need to reestablish.
People often turn to porn as a substitute for connections they don't have, but an addiction to pornography can actually increase your sense of loneliness and isolation. To learn ways to fight urges and prioritize other things in life, reach out to betterhelp.com/divorce court and get matched with a licensed therapist today.
In hindsight, I shouldn't have spent so much money on porn, looking back on it now. I still don't feel that, my problem's that bad, but if you
Either
think...
me or the porn.
If you think it's gonna help my relationship, I can certainly...
It's not just how it affects us on an emotional level, it's also how it affects the people that we love. And when I work with individuals who have addictions, one thing that I look at is how it impacts their relationships. And your relationship right now, it's hurting because this has gotten in the way. Even if you're managing to perform well in every other area of your life, it has severely impacted this one. So it's become a problem because it's impacting your friendships and your relationships.
And Mr. Haynes, Ms. Connors has said she's reached a point where a decision has to be made. It's either her or you get help with an addiction.
Well, I don't want to lose her, so I guess I have to do whatever it takes to keep her.
Okay. I don't know if you're 100% convinced yet, but a lot of times people have to suffer a loss and understand what it means when they start losing the things that are close to them. That's when it really hits home. And I hope for you that that isn't the case with this relationship. But Ms. Connors, I think you're doing the right thing by putting this marriage on hold until you see actions that will demonstrate that Mr. Haynes is ready to actually make the commitment that he says he wants to make in terms of marriage and being a part of a team and being a part of a partnership.
I do want to do that. All I can do is try.
Okay. Why don't you meet with Mr. Pullican when we leave court today, sir?
Sounds good.
Do you want to say anything else, Ms. Connors?
I really want you to get help. And I really don't want to lose you. But you have to get help in order for us to stay together. And I really hope you understand how serious this situation actually is.
I wish both of you well. Good luck.
I feel that moving forward, in order for us to actually stay together, he does need to get help. And I really hope that he does.
Judge Face and Abhilash were both very intelligent people, and I respect everything that they have to say. And I don't want to lose my fiancé, so I will do whatever it takes to make this work. And if everybody feels that I have a problem and I need help, then, even if I disagree, I'll go through whatever steps that it takes to get the help that I need. I'm gonna change, don't worry. I'm gonna stop looking at the porn. I'm not gonna spend any of our money anymore.